Global Star Satellite Communications, headquartered in Covington, Louisiana, connects the world. Global Star Satellite voice and data products offer remote communications for lone workers and backup communications during emergencies and disasters. Global Star's products include Wi-Fi hotspots, tracking devices, and fixed and mobile phones. Be bold, be efficient, be heard. Global Star connects the world. Support for WYES is made possible by Mary Lou Kristovich in memory of her husband, William Kristovich.
Good evening, I'm Peggy Scott Laborde and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, Press Kabacoff, co-founder and executive chairman of HRI Properties, which has helped transform many old buildings in New Orleans into vibrant living spaces. And he's here to discuss his new book, Revitalizing Cites, the HRI Vision. Welcome, Press. Hello.
Hi.
Good you're here. Poppy Tooker, host of the WWNO radio program, Louisiana Eats. Hey, Miss Poppy.
Hey, Peg.
And we have good news, exciting news about another TV show you're going to be on soon.
We do.
And we're thrilled. He's back, musician and puppeteer Harry Mayronne, whose exhibit, Figures, People Who Amuse, Provoke, and Inspire, opens tomorrow night at the Creason Fine Art Gallery in the Quarter. Welcome, Mr. Harry. I love your hat.
Oh, thank you.
And you wear many hats. We'll talk about that. And Steppin Out theater critic, Mr. Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News. But first up, Poppy.
Well, do you remember when this used to be hurricane season?
Yes.
Well, actually, Ann Tunerman, that brilliant Ann from Tales of the Cocktail, I know you're as much a fan of hers as I
The
am.
Energizer Bunny, baby.
Well, Ann took over the Daiquiri Festival, and she has transformed it into Daiquiri Season. So Daiquiri Season runs the entire month of September, and it's all over town. It's every day, and I'm going to give you some ideas of just a few of the fun things that you can do during Daiquiri season. So you can start off down at Sobu, where every day, 7 days a week, from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m., you can have their Carnival Calliope pairing, which is a coffee-inspired daiquiri that has tequila and rum, and they pair it with a cinnamon sugar churro with bitter chocolate dipping sauce. Now that's a way to start the day with a coffee daiquiri. And then there's a daiquiri happy hour every day at Bar Francis at 4 o'clock on Ferret Street. Compare Le Pen is participating, St. Lawrence is participating, Tiki, Tolteca. You can go to each one of these places and find their interesting twist on daiquiris. Now weekdays, Mofo, during their happy hour, they're running a daiquiri special every day, and their happy hour starts at 3 p.m. Over on Magazine Street, Kenton's is doing an early bourbon daiquiri thing. Then
Bourbon daiquiri?
a bourbon, who knows?
Okay.
There's any coffee daiquiri? Pecky. So there's daiquiri days at Barrel Proof. There's daiquiri pairing starting at 5:30 every day at Sylvain. At 10 p.m., there's a daiquiri happy hour at Vessel, which we've discussed. Fridays, Dory's has a daiquiri lunch down on the square. Next Tuesday, this is going to be fun, September 13th, from 2 until 4 p.m., Big Frida is going to be crowning the Duke and Duchess of the Daiquiri at the Ace Hotel. That ought to be quite an event to attend. And then every Friday through the end of the month, there's the Daiquiri Tour. So the Daiquiri Tour is $45, and you get on one of those party buses. Now, I know you've seen these crazy party buses that go through the streets with the music and the lights and well, it's a real party bus, and they pick you up and drop you off at the Ace Hotel. There's 4 stops, and at each one, there's $2 mini daiquiris available. So kudos to Ann, huh? Daiquiri season.
Very
I like
clever.
it better than hurricane
Much
season.
better.
Much better than hurricane season. Now, Thursdays are now Oyster Thursdays at Bar Francis. And they're bringing in a different variety of oyster from somewhere across the United States. And usually when you find these special oysters that are not Louisiana, they run you about $3.50, $4.50 a piece.
Jeez.
Well, during Oyster Happy Hour, they're $1.50, and you get half off all bottles of sparkling wine and champagne from 4 p.m. till closing. So you can mingle over the mollusks, and you can wait and sip a little champagne, and the champagne starts at only $20 a bottle. So this is incredibly affordable. And then, of course, their happy hour is served 7 days a week from 4 p.m. till 6 p.m. Wines by the glass for $5, an array of cocktails and beer from $3 to $5, and then they have wonderful little small plates with cheeses and olives and snacks that are between $3 and $5. Then, since it's Saints time again, on game days, no matter if they're in town or out, they're having happy hour, same happy hour, 30 minutes before and after every Saints game.
All right.
Then there was a little food news that came out that a lot of people are very excited about, and that is that Haydell's Bakery has begun making what they're calling a hand pie. It comes in 4 different flavors: chocolate, cherry, lemon, and apple. And there you go.
There you go.
And of course, they're very reminiscent of course, Hubig's pie, our beloved Hubig's, and I would like everybody to know, because there's so many rumors about these going on. Number one, Hubig's didn't sell the recipe for the ingredients, the inside fillings, and number two, I assure you, Hubig's is coming back. So stay tuned. You can have a hand pie now. We'll have a Hubig's pie again one day in the future. And then lastly, Peggy, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to New York.
You have a good excuse for not being here next week.
I'm going to New York because on Tuesday in the 10 o'clock hour, I'm going to be on the Today Show making gumbo from Tujague's in honor of Tujague's 160th anniversary with Kathy Lee and Hoda. And I understand instead of wine that morning, they're starting with Sazerac. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to handle this situation, but I'm going to do the best.
Okay. I know you'll do your very, very best.
Thank you, Peggy.
Well, Press, I'm very excited that you're sitting next to us at the table, because if there's anybody who should be acknowledged for the revitalization of so many buildings between American Can and Blue Plate and D.H. Homes, for years there was talk of turning D.H. Homes into a people place, the department store, which we so miss. Now it's a hotel. But you decided with your other folks who you work with to put together a book and to kind of have an overview of what you all have been working on for over 30 years now.
Peggy, I thought before I faded away into the sunset that I would get our history down on paper, and I work with Jim Farwell and other people in the company to give our history and what our vision is and where we're going.
Well, it started with the fiber mills, didn't it, at the World's Fair? And
if you remember, I was working with my dad. We were big promoters of the World's Fair, which turned into a disaster at the box office, but a tremendous success in urban renewal. And I decided one of my jobs was to assemble the 80 acres for the fair, lease the buildings, and saw the fiber mills. And I'd been to Soho and the north end of Boston and saw that they were converting these historic warehouse buildings with high ceilings, big windows, hard pine, and said to myself, that would make a wonderful home. So we decided to pioneer residential development in the warehouse district. It had been there 100 years before. But
that was just the start, and we're going to show the cover of the book and some of the photos, just to name a very few of all the different projects you all have been involved in. And even though, there you go, I love that, including the Hibernia Bank building, the former Hibernia Bank building. That's one of yours now too, isn't it?
Yes, we like to take iconic, important monuments in the city. Hibernia with the tower there that you see, the Blue Plate mayonnaise with with that label.
Great Art Deco.
I always like that, and I love the Falstaff sign with the temperature going up and down. That's the American Can. It's the really largest industrial warehouse in this part of the world, and it was sitting there as an eyesore. River Garden, one of the most
St.
controversial
Thomas project, housing project,
one of the
wasn't
most
it?
controversial things. I think I raised the dead in that deal. And then downtown Jackson was suffering from lack of development, and we ended up doing the King Edward Hotel and Standard Life building.
Have you always liked old buildings?
Well, really what we like is walkable neighborhoods. I mean, you know, when New York was having such trouble in the 80s, it decided that its marketing tool would be to develop neighborhoods, Chelsea, Soho. And that thought of developing walkable neighborhoods in a historic city, one that had really suffered. New Orleans, at least when we got started, had gone from almost 700,000 people to 400,000, and we were in trouble. And one of the ways to transform the city was to take neighborhood after neighborhood, bring it back to life, and make New Orleans what it could be. So,
well, congratulations. And just going through the book, there's so many photos and so many of the places we sort of took for granted for many years, but now they're revitalized thanks to you all. And we should point out, of course, what your partner, the late Ed Boatner, and now his son Eddie Boatner, was very much a part of what you have done in this last, it must be, what, almost 4 decades, I guess, huh?
We're about 34 years old. We started 2 years before the World's Fair in 1982, and Ed and I, neither of us knew how to hammer a nail, but somehow we
but you made it
figured
happen.
out what to do, and his son has now taken his place, and we really have new leadership now. Tom Leonard, who's running the company, working with Sidney Bartholomew, the former mayor of the city. We've expanded now. Done almost $2.5 billion of work around the country, and
well,
so
congratulations, and just kudos to you and your wife Sally Ann Glassman for helping to revitalize the St. Claude Avenue area with the Healing Center and other projects too. Congrats.
Thank you.
And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen Julia Street has a question for us. Last time, Tyson Smith named 3 commercially produced beers that were once made in New Orleans. You could have said Falstaff or Dixie, because it's made elsewhere these days, Jack's or Regal, among many others. Now tonight's question, as a nod to the French Market's Downriver Festival this weekend, celebrating our historic body of water, what 2 parishes are downriver from New Orleans, and what are the parish seats? Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes. Tonight we have a year subscription to Louisiana Live magazine. And we also have a tote bag with the message sitting on the Tyson of the Bay. From our friends at wearablevegetables.com. And we have a $50 gift certificate to Kitchen Witch Bookshop. That's a great little shop on North Broad. And most early Friday evenings they have refreshments and a sip and shop. You can visit WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including another reception for Roland Golden's exhibit, Katrina paintings and drawings, at his gallery in downtown Covington. That's tomorrow night. You could also link to our WYES YouTube channel to view our program. And now, Harry, we're thrilled that you're with us. And
thank you.
Usually you come on and talk about your latest musical that you've written the music to, but this time you're wearing a different hat of a puppeteer.
Well, it's a step further than that, because I go into Creason's from time to time to buy art supplies, and have gotten to know Greg Creason, who's a painter, and his wife Lisa. And in showing them a commission I was working on a few months ago, they said, "Would you like to do a show?" And I said, "I've never done a gallery show, so why not?" So that's what I'm doing, my first gallery show. And I've got about 16 or more pieces. Some I've built.
Look at some, and there's
that's
one
my
of your
father,
dad.
Harry Mayronne Sr. That's a little nod to Jose Maria Gondina, painter, who years ago depicted my father in a painting of the bishop. And the next Mardi Gras, my mother built a costume. So I'm carrying on this.
And we should point out your dad had an art studio. He was a graphic
he was
artist.
One of the leading
but he also managed Deschamps Olympian
Yes,
Press.
he did.
He's a very interesting fellow.
He started
to
as
say
an
the
artist,
least.
got into the music business. I've done just the opposite. And of course, he's PF.
Look at that. Now you let me just say, you have made these from scratch.
I built all of these, yes.
And sometimes even dyeing the fabrics and putting together.
Some of the smaller ones, yes, I've done some of the dyeing. And I actually have one here that you haven't seen, but you might recognize.
All right, it's a surprise.
It's Richard Collin.
Oh, the Underground Gourmet.
Peggy.
Look at, We remember him
Wave
fondly.
to-
He was a longtime history professor at UNO, but also the real important food critic of the 70s
Yes,
and 80s.
yes, he was.
Richard Kahn. Oh, that's
So
great.
he's in it. My father's in it. I've got some local people. Some you'll know, some you'll not. Some. It starts everything from Proust to, well, you'll see. But it's been a crazy last 2 weeks. My house looks like a fun house exploded.
Well, once again, you open tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night,
at
6 to 9, I will
Creason's.
be there. 6 to 9, and at 7.
And you're going to perform a little bit?
Yes, at 7 I'll do a short performance.
Okay, well, we're going to let Harry move over to the other side of the studio here. And just a reminder, when you watch Nita Hagen, who's a German cabaret singer that he's going to be performing, remember that she is entirely handmade. And kudos to Harry for both the musical and the artistic talents that he displays. Let's watch.
Irgendwo auf der Welt gibt's ein kleines bisschen Glück. Und ich träum davon in jedem Augenblick. Irgendwo auf der Welt gibt's ein bisschen Seligkeit. Und ich warte darauf seit langer, langer Zeit. Wenn ich wüsste, wo das ist, ging ich in die Welt hinein. Wenn ich möcht, einmal recht, so von Herzen glücklich sein. Irgendwo auf der Welt fängt mein Weg zum Himmel an. Irgendwo, irgendwie, irgendwann. Ich hab so Sehnsucht, ich träum so oft, eins wird das Glück mir nah sein. Ich hab so Sehnsucht, ich hab gehofft, bald wird das Stunde da sein. Tage und Nächte wart ich darauf, ich ging die Hoffnung niemals auf. And now for New Orleans, happiness waits for me somewhere out there in the world. And I dream of it with every breath I take. There's a yes meant for me, and I know someday we'll meet. One appointment, it's impossible to break. When and where, I'm not sure, but my heart will get me there. So much joy to be had, and it's time we get our share, yes? Irgendwo auf der Welt fängt mein Weg zum Himmel an. Irgendwo, irgendwie, irgendwann. Thank you, be kind to one another. Peace from Nina.
Thank you, Harry. Once again, thank you so much. The opening reception for Harry's exhibit is tomorrow night at Creason's Fine Art Gallery on Charter Street. And now it's time for our Artist Spotlight. Tonight we're featuring the works of ceramic artists. The theme is the teacup. This cup is by Bianca Groves. Look at that. And this one is by porcelain artist Mimi Logothetis. And the adorable teapot is by Michael Mahan. All are featured in the 9th annual invitational exhibit called Art of the Cup and Teapot Spotlight, with a reception at the Ogden Museum at Southern Art, of course, next Thursday evening. And during the Ogden After Hours that same night and time, the Trad Stars will present the music of Jelly Roll Morton. I also want to mention at the Martin Lawrence Gallery, that's in the quarter. They'll be having a reception tomorrow evening to preview their fine art auction. And now, Alan.
Well, first off, hot off the presses, we're going to let everybody know that the 2016-17 edition of Source, the award-winning resource guide with entertainment and Mardi Gras information and everything else, will be celebrating women this year. And you'll pick it up at places like Doronax, even here at WYES.
Congratulations.
So hopefully we'll have a little bit more of that distributed next week. Now, last week I was able to catch the world premiere of Flood City. This is the latest work by the NOLA Project and by playwright Gabrielle Reisman. She's the one you remember who gave us Taste and Catch the Wall. This time she tackles the residents of another city that unfortunately had a tragic flooding, and that was, of course, the Jonestown flood in Pennsylvania in 1889. This particular flood city uses a lot of different quirky characters, and that's more or less what we expect from Gabrielle. She has a lot of different characters, sometimes very funny, and takes a dark theme and makes it somewhat more light. Because they use all these different unusual characterizations, you'll see people like Ashley Record Santos and Jessica Lozano in some very unusual dialogue, and they're cast as Val and Stacy, two survivors who react differently about their survival from the disaster. Keith Clavery and Ian Hawke yes, and that, by the way, is a pipe stuck in his head, provide great humor as a National Guard captain and, well, a man with a pipe stuck in his head. Mark Routhier directed this play, which is partially set in the early 1990s, too, when the Bethlehem steel plant shut down. Matthew Thompson here is an unscrupulous photojournalist in the past and also plays a laid-off steelworker in the present or near present. I loved Amy Alvarez and her work as Miss Duncan, who is a doctor, actually, a lady doctor working with the Red Cross, who lives in a very well-ordered universe. And that pipe, perhaps it's the pipe, we're not sure, it allows Clive and Val to actually travel into the future and witness the second Jonestown disaster. The whole cast has some amazing work, a lot especially to do with dialogue. Sometimes many people are reading lines all at the same time. What I liked about the characters and the interaction of the distant past and the not too far away time that we have, I found that the entirety of this work kind of failed to find a resolution at the end. It ended with a whimper rather than a bang, and I have to say that what I liken it to is sort of a fine souffle that sort of fell at the end. Unless, of course, that's what Gabrielle Reisman was going for, that perhaps the survivors just survive and they just move on. The NOLA Project presents Flood City until the 18th of September.
Okay, now.
Yes.
For something completely different, we've got the Let the Good Times Roll at Rivertown, and before Alan reviews the show, let's see a bit of Let the Good Times Roll.
Well, you can rock it, you can roll it, you can slop and even stroll it at the hop, 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 hop. When the record starts spinning, you calypso and you chicken at the hop, 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 hop. Do the dance sensation that is sweeping the nation at the hop. You can swing it, you can groove it, you can really start to move it at the hop. Where the jockey is the smoothest and the music is the coolest at the hop. Yeah, all the cats and chicks come and get their kicks at the hop. Let's go! Let's go to the hop, oh baby. Let's go to the hop, oh baby. Let's go to the hop. Everybody now! Let's go to the hop. I can't hear you. Come on, let's go to the hop.
Okay, well, they're the Big Easy Buddies. They are indeed Rich Arnold, Alec Barnes, Mark Fushi, Jonathan Drury, Bobby Kelly, and Frank Von Hoven. They actually have a cast of 4 that rotates, so you're never going to know who's exactly going to be in what show. Now, they also feature this time a cast of 3 ladies, namely Ashley Rose Bailey, Bethany Fagan, and Whitney Mixon. Fantastic, the Big Easy Babes. And they do a really great job on some songs, too. If you love New Orleans-inspired hits, the first half is all about New Orleans and New Orleans-inspired music. And the second act, of course, features those hits from the 50s and 60s. And Beatles fans will love the Beatles medley that they do and all kinds of tunes from the Drifters, the Monkees, and even the Foundations. You'll see that through September the 23rd at the Kenner Performing Arts Theaters. And opening this weekend is the Neil Sedaka and Bruce Greenfield-inspired jukebox musical called Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. So again, Neil Sedaka songs that you remember, Calendar Girl and Carol, Laughter in the Rain, all of those are going to be basically on tap with a cast that's going to be featuring a lot of people that you'll remember from some of the old JPS musicals that were done at the Teatro Ouigo. But it's Breaking Up Is Hard to Do through September the 18th, including Butch Care. You'll see all of them in their finest through September the 18th. We'll have a review by that way on next week. And also very good news about JPAS. They have decided to actually take their West Wego Performing Arts Theater and revamp it. They actually had it for several years where it was in laying for the problems dealing with the insurance, et cetera, et cetera. They had a damage from a tornado. It suffered interior damage as a result, water intrusion, et cetera. But now the mayor of West Wego, John Shaninger, and Dennis Asaf, the artistic director at JPAS, have signed a contract preparing the way for a brand new theater that will be unveiled in 2017. And good news also for New Orleans, we have a play that is now being presented that was just at the New York Fringe Festival. This is called Interludes. It's a New Orleans play, and it really combines jazz music with featuring the drummer Daryl Smith and a group there, and Claire Christine Sargenti, who's the writer. And this is going to be at a new place, Castillo Blanco on St. Claude Avenue.
Oh, St. Claude, St. Claude. Press is sitting right here. Okay. And now time for our picks. Press.
We put together the Healing Center, as you know, at St. Claude and St. Roch. You just referenced it, and we have an incredible festival on the 15th of October, celebrating water issues, and it starts at 12 o'clock and goes on to midnight, and then on Thursday night, on the 13th, I get all the water scientists and we talk about the issues of rising sea levels.
So go to the website, I'm sure, for more information.
Go to the website.
Bobby.
French Market Coffee and Louisiana Eats teaming together for a Tujague's wine dinner to benefit the Southern Food and Beverage Museum at the Southern Food and Beverage Museum with new chef Guy Sockrider. That's who's at Tujague's now.
Good news. Harry.
I will be at Buffa's on the 22nd with Gumbo Cabaret featuring my friends from Buffa's, Rebecca Lee and Kelly Dixon, some great singers.
Okay, thank you, Alan.
And there's a Tennessee Williams play, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I don't know if I've seen that one yet. It's going to be playing in Mandeville at the 3090 Theater, and that, again, is on Lafayette Street in Mandeville. So anybody who likes Tennessee Williams, check that out.
All right, my picks. Gina Ware Costumes and Clothing will be holding their September sale. That's tomorrow from 11 to 4 on Bienville Street in Mid-City. Also tomorrow, the 4th annual Downriver Festival, as we alluded to earlier, featuring lectures, live music, and culinary demonstrations celebrating the Mississippi River's influence on our culture. And Sunday night, vocal soloists Amy Fremer, Davida Karanis, and Terrence Brown will present a concert of Mozart's Requiem at Trinity Episcopal Church to benefit Baton Rouge flood victims. And putting all that together, kudos to Paul Maufrey, and coordinating that and looking forward to something else, the Vieux Carré Properties Association, the residents, and VC Pora is their group. They'll be holding their annual gala next Friday evening at the Beauregard Kai's house on Charter Street. Thank you all so much. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for watching. Good night.
Global Star Satellite Communications, headquartered in Covington, Louisiana, connects the world. Global Star satellite voice and data products offer remote communications for lone workers and backup communications during emergencies and disasters. Global Star's products include Wi-Fi hotspots, tracking devices, and fixed and mobile phones. Be bold, be efficient, be heard. Global Star connects the world.